You have probably watched this happen to someone or done it yourself without having words for it. A person goes quiet. Not dramatically. There is no announcement, no falling out, no explanation posted anywhere. They simply become less available. The replies get slower. The invitations stop being accepted. They are not in the photographs anymore. And people notice, in the way people notice these things, briefly and then not at all. Then, some months later, they reappear. And something is different in a way that is hard to name. They are steadier. They talk less and mean more. They seem to have stopped needing something they used to need. Nobody watched it happen because it did not happen anywhere anyone could watch. There is a reason for that, and it is not modesty or secrecy or any of the things it gets mistaken for. It is closer to a survival mechanism. There is a finding in psychology that is uncomfortable enough that most people ignore it after hearing it. When you tell people about a goal you intend to reach, you become measurably less likely to reach it. The researchers have a name for it, a substitution of symbolic completion for actual completion. The plain version is simpler. Announcing the intention gives you a portion of the reward for having done the thing. The recognition arrives early. The identity is granted in advance. And a part of you, the part that was doing the wanting, quietly sits down. This is why the person who tells everyone they are writing a book so often does not write the book. They already received what they were actually after. But there is a second cost, and it is heavier. The moment other people know what you are attempting, you acquire an audience. And an audience changes the nature of the attempt. You are no longer only trying to change, you are trying to change while being watched, which means managing how the change appears. Every setback becomes something to explain. Every slow week becomes something to justify. The transformation stops being work and becomes a performance about work. So the ones who actually get somewhere tend to do it where nobody is looking, not because they are hiding, because attention is a cost they cannot afford while the structure is still soft. There is a deeper reason for the silence, and it has to do with what other people are actually for. The people around you hold a version of you in their heads. The reliable one, the funny one, the one who never finishes anything, the one who is always struggling. That version is not malicious. It is simply the model they built from everything you have done so far. And it is astonishingly stable. When you begin to change, that model does not update. It resists. Not consciously and often not unkindly, but a social group is a system, and systems maintain their shape. The friend who teases you back into the old role, the family member who reminds you what you are like, the relationship that only functions if you stay approximately who you were. Carl Jung wrote about a stage he called the death of the old self, the period where the person you were assembled from has to come apart before anything genuine can be built in its place. And a person in the middle of that is not impressive to watch. They are inconsistent, half-formed, saying things they will contradict next month. If you are visible during that stage, the people watching will, with the best intentions, try to help you back to solid ground. Which is the old ground? The silence is not secrecy. It is protection for something that is not yet strong enough to survive being looked at. Now the part that gets left out of every video on this subject because it complicates the appeal. This same behavior, performed for slightly different reasons, is one of the clearest early signs that something is going badly wrong. Withdrawal is a feature of depression. It is a feature of shame. It is what people do when they are ashamed of where their life has arrived and cannot face being seen in it. From the outside, the two look identical. Same quietness, same declined invitations, same absence from the photographs. And from the inside, the person can rarely tell which one they are in, because both come with the same story. I am doing this on purpose. I will come back when I am ready. There are a few honest tests. The first is whether anything is actually being built. Real rebuilding leaves evidence, hours, pages, repetitions, something that accumulates. If a year of silence has produced nothing you could point to, it was not construction. The second is whether the isolation is total. People who rebuild deliberately almost always keep one or two people close. Not an audience, but a witness. Complete disappearance from everyone is a different signal. And the third is the feeling underneath it. Deliberate solitude tends to feel like focus. It is often quietly enjoyable. The other kind feels like dread and like relief at not having to be seen. If it is the second one, the answer is not more silence. It is one person you tell the truth to, and if that is not available, someone whose job it is to listen. Solitude that is chosen builds something. Solitude that is fled into just gets deeper. So if you are in the quiet part right now, or thinking about entering it, understand what you are actually doing, because it is not what it looks like from outside. You are not avoiding people. You are removing the audience from an experiment that does not work while it is being observed. You are refusing the early reward, the recognition for having intended something, so that the actual thing has a reason to get finished. And you are giving the half-built version of yourself somewhere to exist before it has to be defended. None of that requires disappearing forever, and it does not require telling anyone what you are up to. It requires only this: doing the work in a place where nobody is keeping score. The people who come back changed did not have a better method than everyone else. They simply spent the fragile part of it out of sight, where nothing could talk them back into who they used to be. And when they returned, they did not announce it either. They did not have to. The difference was doing the announcing for them. This is the Outlier Protocol. If this found you at the right time, you know what to do.